moving back to your own country,
Yeah.
the circus is in town all over. It's the elections. I know you're a critic of Obama, so do you have a preferred candidate, or are you just too happy to see him go right now?
Well, no, you know, I'm a critic of the man, but he's one of the best speakers we ever had. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't criticize. One of the beauties of American politics is the fact that it is American politics and it's supposed to be a circus.
Yeah.
You know, when people want normality, you can't say, oh, this is so abnormal having a guy like Donald Trump involved. But you complain about normality, but then you complain about abnormality. So somewhere in between is a balance.
Yeah.
So I'm really optimistic. Out of really tumultuous times in our history come some of our best leaders.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't happen when shit's good. If shit's good, there's no problems.
No.
You know, you're fucking invading Iraq, everybody's all over George Bush, you know?
Yeah.
But I mean, was it a necessary evil? I don't know. But for God's sake, I mean, it's turned the world upside down since.
Yeah.
I mean, you start thinking about it. If I had a candidate, it's John from Ohio, Kasich. I think he's probably the most qualified. I'm not going to say that I'm a right-wing guy. I'm really not, and I really don't like you know, explaining my politics. I'm really somewhere more in the middle of the road kind of a person because I believe in social progression.
Yeah.
But I also believe in protection, and I also believe in individual rights. And I think as soon as the government starts getting too big from a really far left-wing perspective, that it pushes me a little farther right. Because I'm a guy who works for myself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not a big Bernie Sanders supporter based on the fact that you start injecting socialist ideals into a man who's working for himself. You go, you cut me off at 50%. Are you out of your fucking mind? I don't want to. It doesn't pay for me to work for myself anymore.
I won't mention that I'm a socialist.
But the point being is that I do think that all people have rights, and somewhere between all of our ideas is really the right way. We just can never agree on it because one majority eventually will sway it.
Yeah.
And in the States, part of the problem is always the electoral college. It's not necessarily always the popular vote.
No.
So I mean, it's but I'm widely optimistic to what happens for this presidential election because I think the chaos is exactly what was needed. Look at it as fucking great opportunity as opposed to, oh my God, I'm leaving the country. You know, oh, I'll go live in an island in Belize if that guy's elected. It's like, what, are you fucking crazy? You're an American.
Well, the amount every 4 years I always see someone go, oh, if such and such candidate wins, I'm moving to Canada.
Yeah.
And I always think that the Canadians sort of go, fuck off.
Yeah. I didn't want you till things were not going the way I wanted them to go. No, but I mean, I'm American tried and true, and I don't mean that as, you know, you know, a gun-toting headbreaker. I mean it is, I like to see good things.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I've experienced around the world. I know people from most continents who are under all different kinds of political rule. But I think this is a great time for America to really show that there's a possibility for, you know, the change that had been promised 8 years ago.
Sweet.
Yeah.
No, it's like you say, America, for all the politics and abnormalities and that, it's an idea as much as it is a country about freedom and all this kind of thing. And it's a great idea, and it's one that really can work. America as itself is a great idea.
The great experiment.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, but like you call it an experiment, it just takes 200 and so years to get it right.
We haven't totally failed, though.
No,
I mean,
no,
that's
no.
really the point.
No, well, this is it. You know, like you say, you go around the world, and I'm sure you experience people slagging off America everywhere you go. But they're coming to your gigs, they're coming to Exodus's gigs, or another American artist, hip hop or whatever. So, for all the criticism that America gets, it does seem undeserved. You know, do you ever have to explain that to people when someone mouths off too much or something?
Well, no, I don't think it's, you know, this is the most I've talked about politics in any interview, but I think
we can stop if you want.
To some degree we're talking a little bit about nationalism, and there's, no, for sure I'm a proud American. But I don't need to force that down your throat.
No.
And I also don't need to correct you when you say you're wrong. If that's your opinion, I can understand that fact. But you know what? It never said on the Statue of Liberty, you know, just give me your hungry, you're tired, you're weak. It said, give me your shitty, your criminals, your felons, empty your prisons. I mean, this is some of the shit we get too. I mean, it's you know, this is how America filled itself for years. I mean, and turned that into something that was, especially through the last century, was fucking industrially and militarily and economically fucking great.
Yeah.
You know, that benefited not only America but the entire world. So I think that great experiment can move forward.
Yeah.
And you know, like with people talk about immigration and Donald building the wall up, and you know, I talk to like real far right-wing guys, and they're saying, oh God, they're just coming over in droves. I'm like, you're worried about the country going down the toilet, and the Mexican immigrants are the ones who have exactly the same values that you have. It's exactly the same value system. They want nice things for their family, just like you. So there's somewhere in here's the truth between everything. So I think, you know, in the coming years, we're gonna, you know, this is our
Get back on top.
well, no, it's a test of the metal. You know, you have to. It's not the problem that makes the man or the country. It's how the country or the man reacts to the problem.
Yeah.
When we have a problem, let's fucking react to it the right way. It's that simple. Not just one guy's fucking idea. It's got to be a balance.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure we've both been saying that about our country in a minute, because I don't know if you got to see the news while you're over here, but our Prime Minister and the Chancellor and all that haven't paid tax, basically. They've just stored all their money off in Panama.
Oh, I see.
So the same thing happened to the Prime Minister in Iceland, and the people went to the streets and he got kicked out the next day. But the British mentality, I think we're both frustrated with, doesn't do that. We just go, it's typical. And that's so it's tumultuous times the world over, you know.
For sure. It's not right. It's not relegated to one continent.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, it's human nature. Our problems are human nature is really what it comes down to.
So have you been able to get that and put it into music as of late, especially? Or?
I don't think I'm qualified. You know, I mean, all we talked about, this was like a private conversation that other people are obviously going to see, and I think there's something special in that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not politically. I don't think I'm qualified to tell people what to think politically.
There won't be any Overkill songs about economics.
Well, you know something, I mean, like I was telling you about, you know, I managed the band, so I hit Blabbermouth.
Yeah.
You know, to see who's releasing, you know, you got to keep up. That's like kind of the newspaper. You know what's going on. A lot of it I just skip. I don't read everything, obviously. But sometimes I just see, you know, musicians that, you know, I don't understand where these guys got so fucking smart. You know what I'm saying? Just because they've sold X amount of records, they're not the same fucking douchebag as the fucking first record they sold. It's like, let me tell you exactly how you should vote. Yeah. Well, wait a second, we're not all in the fucking same situation as you. You understand that, right? We don't all have 3 fucking houses and 4 fucking Ferraris. So, I mean, so it doesn't correlate here. But, at the same time, I don't feel I'm qualified to tell other people how to, through music or through art.
Yeah.
You know, I don't speak of social ill, but I will not speak of how that social ill should be changed through siding or affiliation.
No, then you just end up like Bono.
Yeah.
And we don't need another.
He's a very rich man, though. Speaking of vacations on desert islands with supermodels.
You're on vacation.
Ponders the world's problems.
You're on vacation in Bristol.
Drinking a warm Heineken.
So speaking of music and that, it's been 2 years now since White Devil Armory. 2 years before that we had Electric Age. 2 years before that Iron Band. You see where I'm going with this.
Okay.
Can we expect new Overkill anytime soon?
Where are you going with this?
Oh, I had it a minute ago.
October 28th. That's a slated release date. I have 11 demoed songs.
Sweet.
It's obviously taking on an Overkill flair. I think I'd be a liar to say it'd be anything else, you know.
We don't want anything else. We want Overkill.
Yeah, I suppose it works. You know, it works in my house anyway. You know. But the idea is that, you know, when you're doing it and you're involved, I think on in the interior level of it, you always see the nuances, the changes, the differences, and there's a feel to this one I just like. You know, I can't say it's better than or worse than, or, you know, is it faster, is it slower? I don't have any of that feel yet, but I'm 5 songs complete. I have stuff for 8. We're gonna do 11. it just has a great vibe. Dee Dee came up with something that was cohesive on this record. It's the Overkill tool shed does not just contain power and thrash. It's power and thrash and rock and roll, a little punk and a little doom and a little Sabbath and a little of this, and he's it's about taking all those tools and creating, let's say, the correct perspective with all of them. And I think he really had great perspective on his riff writing with this. And that's what excited Dave, really excited me. When we started working on the record, I brought stuff out on the road to work on. So Dave and I have been sitting around listening to stuff, going over extending parts. And so, yeah, we're close.
Good stuff. And one of my favourite things about Overkill has always been, just comes up with brilliant titles all the time. Like White Devil Armory is a great title, Electric Rattlesnake. Just really cool combinations of words like that. So is there going to be kind of any more like that?
Jeez, I'm trying to think what I wrote.
It's a song called None of Your Business, Stop Asking Me.
I wrote this song, and I had so much fun writing this song because I went way back to the punk roots, and I think the title will remain. It's called Let's All Go to Hades. And I thought to myself, how fucking great is this for us? Because, I think to be able to do this for this amount of time, one of the things is you have to have a fucking sense of humor.
Yeah.
You can't everything just can't be heavy and I will melt our bones. I mean, I was telling Dee Dee, I said, I don't think I've ever written something where I've pulled the flesh from your face and melted your bones to dust.
Yeah.
That it always has to be more of a personality kind of thing. And when I see that personality-laden things through the lyrics and, the non-political standpoints, but just, the problems that make me a person is really what I write about. And try to cleanse myself of them every 2 years. That's why it's a good record for me.
Cool.
So sure, you're going to get some of those kind of titles on there. So Let's All Go to Hades, and there's a couple other good ones too. There actually are. I don't want to give away all the titles, but Let's All Go to Hades is. I'm trying to think of one of the lyrics in it. It's because the whole Paris problem came up, and again, this is just a social issue at this point, and it was let's all go to Gay Paris and lay a rose at the Bataclan while sing Killed by Death as we stand arm in arm. And it was right around the time Lemmy died and the whole thing happened, and I was thinking to myself, this is an Overkill lyric, I mean, because it's poignant, but yet at the same time it's got a little bit of a sideways smile to it.
Yeah. Well, obviously you mentioned Killed by Death there, so by proxy Motorhead. And obviously that's where you get your name from. I know because when I was 13, I was thinking of names to call the band, and I decided Overkill.
Beat you.
And then I went to the fucking CD shop. I was like, motherfucker, this is just what happened with Venom. But how did the death of Lemmy affect you as such a huge fan, as someone that's got to share the stage and tour with him before?
Well, personally, obviously, I mean, he was a gentleman, and I don't really. I've been asked a few times, and I don't really give a lot of input on it because it is personal. Much like politics, because really all I did was talk around politics. I didn't talk politics. And I think the idea is that some things should remain personal. This is a day and age where nothing is. No. And there's nothing you can hold dear to your heart anymore because everybody knows, because they post it and you get, and you get all these little like thumbs ups, I got, oh my God, I got 45 likes because I'm a nice person. I never really gave a shit. You know what I mean? I grew up in a different era.
Yeah.
But I can tell you this. Being in this business for the amount of time, you meet people that were iconic to you as a kid, as you're growing up, and this is obviously one for me. And I always had this nervous feeling about meeting what I would think was iconic, or something that changed my life. Because I don't want to meet the fucking guy and I find out he's an absolute fucking asshole, afterwards, and break all his records when I go home, right? But this was never the case with this person. What you saw was what you got. He was the real deal. He could look around a room and he could pick out the real deal too. And that to me was really important. That it was never a letdown. It was 100% what you think it was, he was. And he was an absolute gentleman through the whole thing. So,
wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're probably getting bored of me now. So we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
You just kept talking at me about fucking politics.
You're the only one who's ever got me to open up about it. I did the Obama thing. The next thing I know, my whole Wikipedia page was changed. I was like Ted Nugent. I'm like, what happened here? All I talked was about healthcare. Mr. Obama won't cover me overseas.
Right, well, thank you very much.
My
It's been
pleasure.
a real pleasure.
Yeah, man.
Thank
It's
you
good
very
times.
much. Take care of yourself.
All right.
Thank you. Bye.